Before I begin my talk, I want to thank Jonah for that wonderful meditation. That not only was it a great meditation, but you taught us how to meditate. So this will be a good CD for you to get if you want to learn how to meditate. So that was fantastic. Thank you, Jonah. So we are talking about the unity way of affirmative prayer today. We are in the midst of our fall program, the Affirmative Prayer Project, and so we're going to address that. But I'd like to begin with a couple of scriptures that are the foundation. And let's go to Job 22, verse 28, the King James Version. I prefer the language in this one, and you'll see why. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and light shall shine upon thy ways. Decree. Decree. That has a powerful ring to it, doesn't it? It's more than just a kind of a namby-pamby sort of might, could, wanna, maybe, somehow. It's a decree. Sounds like royalty. A king or a queen decrees something, and my goodness, then it is so. Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be so, and the light will shine upon your ways. Wow. You want that? Well, that's why we're talking about decreeing, affirmative decreeing today. And then also from the book of James 5:15, the prayer of faith will save the sick, and the Lord will raise them up, and anyone who has committed sin will be forgiven. And I need to tell you that the unity definition of sin means missing the mark. We don't get into this boogeyman kind of bad, whap, beat you down for sinning. Just if you're shooting the arrow and it misses the target, what do? You beat yourself up. Oh no, I'm so bad. Take another arrow and take better aim. So, doesn't mean that we love sin, but we don't beat you up over it. Just missing the mark. But the prayer of faith will heal the sick. I've been working with a person for a couple of weeks now, and she is saying, why me? I've lived a good life, a clean life, I have a healthy life. Why do I have this health challenge? And because she grew up in unity, and her mom was very strong in unity. In fact, her mom was a dear friend of my mother's. And then after we talked, she says, would you give me a good unity prayer? An affirmative prayer. And she feels better when we do that affirmative prayer. So that's what we're talking about today. Now, I have a question for you. How many right ways are there to pray? 1, 10, 1,000,000? Yeah, there's lots of right ways to pray. And we're going to talk about one that works for us, that helps us and has helped so many others. And it's not to say you can't pray the other way, but we want you to learn this affirmative prayer. You know it already, don't you? Do you know you can pray when you dance? Yeah. And when I dance, you're praying that he would learn to dance. You know. And there's praying when you sing, right? And how many times do you pray when you sing? Twice. At least twice. How about when you're playing music? Is it kind of, yeah, you're getting into that. It's almost trance-inducing, isn't it? Yeah, you get a spiritual, walking. Have any of you learned to walk consciously? How about eating? Now see, this is an area that I can work on. I'm looking to see if my favorite doctors out there, who, Frank Rassler, who did a TED Talk, and I thought he was out there, but it's a magnificent talk about being healthy. One of those things is how we eat. And those of us that yo-yo a bit with our weight, you know, we don't always eat consciously, prayerfully. Any of you find that's true in your life? And so, like, maybe you go to a Buddhist retreat and somebody gives you a grape, and we're going to learn to eat the grape. So you have one green grape, and you put it in your mouth, but you can't bite. And what does it feel like? What is it, the texture? And then you take one bite, and the juice oozes out, and you eat consciously. And you could eat that thing so slowly that one grape would fill you up. Now those of us that yo-yo, we are land sharks. We are efficient eaters. Some of us that had brothers, you kind of eat like this to keep them off of your food. There's lots of ways to pray. And we're going to talk about Unity's affirmative prayer way. And let me ask you this. What is the purpose of prayer? Is it to get God's attention and get God to give you blessings, the goodies, and so you write like a Christmas list to God. Dear God, I want this and this and this and this and this and this. And for my friends, I want this and this and this and this and this. Thank you, God. And then you seal it and send it to heaven. Do you know, by the way, sometimes people have written prayer letters to God, and they just put on the outside of the envelope, God, heaven, and the post office a lot of the times will deliver it to Unity Village, to Silent Unity. Did you know that? Yeah. So Silent Unity is our worldwide prayer ministry, if you didn't know. Well, what we know is God is all good, everywhere present, who loves nothing more than to bless us in every needed way. So we don't need to beg God, try to get God's attention, and there's some belief, conscious or unconscious, that the more these and thous that one uses, the better the prayer. But you see, our purpose, as we understand it in Unity, is to align the mind and heart with God. And then the good things, the healings or the jobs or the relationships and all are a byproduct of that. Now you say, well, if God is everywhere and God is good and God is a creator and God created me out of God's stuff, then how can I be a mind different from God that is aligned with God? Because God gives us free will. And we can think about God, and we can think about lack, and we can think about suffering, and we can think about pain. And what we think about, we get. Yes, our purpose is to align our thinking and our feeling with God. And do you know that every thought is a prayer? In that teen version of the Daily Word, thoughts are prayers. Yeah. They help you in school. They help you in relationship. Help you in the football team. Yeah. And I will tell you what I think was the improper use of prayer, but nonetheless, it was prayer. This was, after I graduated from high school, I was named to the Georgia All-Star football team, and you divided the state into north and south, and we played. And I was on the north squad, being from College Park, that was north of Macon. And we were playing supposedly the best high school offense ever assembled in the history of the free world. Mostly it was players from Valdosta. And we were winning 6-0, and they were about to score. And I was playing on the defense. And the defensive captain called us in a huddle. He said, we're going to pray right now that God calls a fumble. And I didn't want to have a theological discussion with him. But you know, the very next play they fumbled, and we recovered, and we won the game. I don't think that God really cares about fumbles. But the thought, you see, you had a thought. And we all had the same thought. And that big old bruising running back dropped the ball. We won. Yeah, thoughts are things, they're creative. Now, Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, believed that we are created out of God, and God is spirit, and therefore we're spirit. And he said, spirit with spirit can meet. Spirit with spirit can meet. Now, he wasn't getting a lot of direction from God, a lot of guidance from God. So he said, I'm going to make an appointment with God every evening. And it was several years before he actually got guidance. But he said, spirit with spirit can meet, and I'm going to show up. If I'm not getting answers from God, it is not because of a reluctance on God's part. It's from all the thoughts I have held and all the beliefs I have had from the time I was a child up to now. And so I will keep meeting, and I will keep meeting, and I will keep meeting. And then he got answers in the form of dreams. And one of those answers was to have a farm and build a village. And that farm was originally known as Unity Farm, and it became known as a Unity Village when it became a city. It is a small city south of Kansas City. Now, he believed that God directed him, that pretty much that land was cheap or almost worthless. There was no water on it. There were no public utilities at that point. But that's where he was led. And so they knew they were going to need water. So they kept digging wells for water. They couldn't find any water because they kept finding oil and natural gas. Whoa! And so they built lakes for their water. And that oil and natural gas helped build a farm which became, again, Unity Village. And when I was on the board of Unity Village, there was still oil and gas there. And we would have from time to time proposals to take it out. Well, when it gets to the smaller amount, it costs more to get it out. So that when the prices go up enough, we'll probably lease that and let somebody pull out that oil and gas. But I did notice right across our boundary, somebody had one of those grasshopper things pumping. I wonder if they're slant drilling in our oil field. I don't know about that. But the point is, if I may circle around back to it, spirit with spirit can meet. For you and me, for all of us. Whether you're a Unitic or some other kind of Christian or a Buddhist or a Hindu or a Muslim or an atheist, you can connect. You can connect with the divine and get guidance. And that to me is not just prayer, but also meditation. I love the meditation. I love that young man who taught us how to meditate as he led us in meditation. Wasn't that wonderful? I mean, my goodness, a teenager, don't you wish you learned that then? Man. So it is that connecting with spirit. And again, this idea, every thought is formative. Every thought is creative. You see, we have three levels of the mind. The conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind. Superconscious is spirit. And getting from the conscious to the superconscious takes practice. It takes making an appointment. And I make an appointment every day, morning and evening, morning and evening. Charles said just in the evening, but I'm a little bit slower. I need morning and evening, morning and evening. And that's what we're doing in our fall program. We are learning a way, not the way, but a way that is effective for many of us and millions of us around the world. Do it that way. But you see, the subconscious mind is the computer of the mind. It takes in what you put in, and it gives out so garbage in, garbage out. Good stuff, holy stuff, healing stuff in, healing stuff out. But it does not know the difference between truth and stuff that's made up. It doesn't know the difference between jokes. If you're saying bad things about yourself or bad things about others, it takes it in and says, that's you. That's you, and it plays it back in your life. And what happens is, throughout the day, we are bombarded with what others are saying. If you watch the news, oh my goodness, this morning I was listening to the news coming in and said, I had to turn that off. I got to be positive. There were bombings, there were this, there were murders, there were all these kind of things. And you see that affects us. And if I listen to it and I connect with it, it gets into my subconscious. Now, Mr. Fillmore said those formal times of prayer are accelerated forms of thought. And they can help override all the garbage you've been putting in. But what we're about in affirmative prayer is putting in the positive, because that's what we want in our life. And when I'm watching television, I'm sometimes talking back to it, saying, cancel, cancel. That's why Brenda doesn't take me to the movies anymore. I'm going back to the movie. Cancel, cancel. I don't want to see that ugly. Because if you think it and you feel it, you'll get it. It will come back to you. It'll come back to you. So, working on the affirmative prayer. Now, because we invited children to be with us, and some are here if they're over 7, except for the teenagers, and I hope they'll get a copy of this. The second prayer I learned in my life was the Prayer of Faith by Hannah More Cohouse. First one was the Lord's Prayer. But Hannah More Cohouse was a friend of Myrtle Fillmore. And in 1898, they met in Chicago. And Myrtle Fillmore was so in love with this Prayer of Faith, she asked Hannah More Cohouse if she might publish it in We Wisdom magazine and other Unity publications. You know, We Wisdom magazine, which is no longer in publication, but was around for about 100 years, may have been the very first children's magazine in this country. I loved We Wisdom magazine. I went to a public school in East Point and then later in College Park. And in both libraries of that elementary school, we had We Wisdom magazine. We weren't as prickly about having spiritual things in libraries and in schools then. But as near as I can tell, just about every month, they published the Prayer of Faith on the back of We Wisdom magazine. And I so love that prayer. And my prayer is that all children and adults, if you never had a chance to learn the Prayer of Faith, I want you to see it now or hear it now, and you can pick up a sermon summary on your way out, and you will have it. Now, a former music director here always thought that that was one of my favorite songs in our hymnal. It's not. It's one of my favorite prayers. The song was a little bit, shall we say, not up to contemporary standards. But the prayer is timeless. Listen to these words. Listen to them. God is my help in every need. God does my every hunger feed. God walks beside me, guides my way through every moment of the day. I now am wise, I now am true, patient, kind, and loving too. All things I am can do and be through Christ the truth that is in me. God is my health. I can't be sick. God is my strength, unfailing quick. God is my all. I know no fear, since God and love and truth are here. Think about that. Your young ones. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing for them to have with them in their heart? God is my help in every need. I can't be sick. God provides for me. And you see, I learned that at a time when we didn't have a father in the household. There wasn't a breadwinner other than mother, and she had 3 boys, and she worked hard. And sometimes we did not know where our next meal was coming from. And to hear, God is my help in every need. God does my every hunger feed. And how about in school? You blow the math test. And you say, oh, I'm so stupid. Guess what and you say, I'm not good at math. And guess what the subconscious says? Oh, you believe you're stupid and not good at math, and that'll play it out in your life. So, excuse me, I just said that as an example, but my subconscious does not know it's not. I was kidding. That's a joke. Cancel counsel. I am smart and I am good at math. Okay. But you see my point. I now am wise. I now am true. Patient. How about sometimes with young ones, are you not so patient? And say, why, what's in it and bugging you? I got work to do, And you come home and you're tired, and they've had a rough day at school, and I'm patient. How we love for our parents to be patient, kind, and loving. That's what we need. How about our bosses? Wouldn't we like our bosses to be patient, kind, and loving? Any of you notice that in Atlanta, when it rains, people forget how to drive? Okay, I noticed this yesterday. I was donating stuff to Goodwill and trying to back out, and people blowing the horn wouldn't let me out. Then I was going home, and I was on Mount Vernon by the Baptist church. The light up had turned red, and this woman was trying to get out of the church. So I naturally slowed down, being patient, kind, and loving to. And this guy in a big honking truck hits the brakes, skids, almost hits me, starts blowing the horn, and I was not feeling patient, kind, and loving too. And I was wishing I had a backfire bomber, not shooting truck tires out. All right, that was just a joke. Cancer. I would never want to shoot. Do you see what I needed was to be what? Wise, patient, kind, and loving. I remember that prayer. Someone said, on this path to enlightenment, it's not about being perfect every moment of every day, but catching yourself sooner and correcting it. Correcting that thought that, like, hey, you can't get in there any faster anyway. The light is red up there, and she's trying to get in, but you see what happened. I was like, man, this guy almost rear-ended me. And he's faulting me for being kind and letting this person, for heaven's sakes, trying to get out of a church parking lot. Wouldn't you let that person in? Yeah. All right. So I need to affirm for myself and that person, we are patient, kind, and loving too. And learning these prayers as a child. I was probably 7 or 8 years old when Mother taught that and gave me a copy, and I put it on my wall in my bedroom. So I could see next to the Lord's Prayer. Wow, God is my help. God is our help. And God is your help in every need. I so love that prayer. Yeah. So we've been working for 4 weeks. This is our 4th week of our fall program, Learning Affirmative Prayer. Now we began with affirmative prayer right off the bat. And we're just reinforcing this now. If you are not in a group, it's okay, but still be following along with these ideas. And if you want to come, we have a few more places on Wednesday night. We have about 30 people that go to Nemo's just around the corner at 7 o'clock, have dinner there, and we pray in the affirmative way. And what we are doing is a kind of a prescribed method. And again, I want you to be clear, it's not the only way. It is a way. It is an effective way. And we're trying to learn to do this, not putting ourselves down, not affirming negativity, not affirming the absence of God, and not being needy, but affirming truth. So let's go to the way we are doing this fall program. Okay? And again, take it, use it. If it works for you, continue. If it doesn't, modify it. Or find wherever it is. But spirit with spirit can meet. I want you to get that. Spirit with spirit can meet. So we begin by giving thanks. And the Master, our elder brother in Wayshore Jesus, showed us that. When he raised Lazarus from the dead, the first thing he did was give thanks. And when he had thousands of people to feed, and just a little bit of fish and bread, he gave thanks. He gave thanks. Now, the second one may be a little odd to you. State the name and location of God. We'd say, do you know there's some people don't like the name God? I've had them in this church who said, I was beaten up by the name God, and they told me God was punishing me, God was catching me, do everything wrong, and had a ledger, is going to send me to hell. We don't believe that about God. But so they said, could you call divine mind, call anything else, but you know, infinite spirit, creator, sustainer, the deity. But we believe in God that's all good and loving and everywhere present. So state the name, God in you, the great physician in you, the divine mind in this situation. And then affirmatively decree the desired outcome, not the negative, not the thing that's missing. So you want to affirm the desired thing, highest and best, the wholeness, the abundance, the happiness, and the love. And decree it in the present moment. In the present moment. Because the subconscious will hear it if you say, I'm praying for this job to come about. I'm praying for this case to be settled and I will get money. I'm praying that I will be healed at some point in the future. What we want to do is now, the now moment. And let me give you some examples. Some examples. Suppose it's for healing of a friend. And you could say it this way: I give thanks that the great physician is now at work in my friend, making her whole and free right now. And see, I've been doing that sort of prayer with this person that is in the hospital and has cancer and wonders why. And I said, I don't know why. Maybe never will, but let's work on the healing. Let's work on the healing. She said, I want a unity affirmative prayer. And I said, here it is. Here it is. And how about right employment? A lot of people, we're thankful that fewer today than 3 or 4 years ago. But we can say this: I am grateful that the infinite wisdom of God within my friend is guiding this person to his right and perfect work this very moment. Now, someday soon this job will happen, but so right now, this very moment, the infinite wisdom of God within this person, so this person is tuned in, plugged in, is getting it. How about for a wonderful relationship? I am grateful that God's beautiful heart is experienced by my friend and leads him to his perfect relationship right now. This is positive. This is not the way most of the world prays, but it's the way Unity has prayed for 125 years. And it healed the Fillmores, and it brought them prosperity and happiness and love, and built this worldwide ministry, and they shared it. People heard about it early, and they would come to their home and say, pray with me in this way. Teach me how to pray this way. And that became the Silent Unity prayer ministry that receives millions of calls and letters each year. And the Daily Word magazine, that when I was there at Silent Unity, we had 2.5 million subscribers to that. So millions of people around the world getting an affirmative prayer thought every day. What I say to you is, spirit with spirit can meet, will meet, is meeting when you align your thinking and feeling nature with God. When you do that, you are opening the doors for God to heal you, to prosper you, to give you right relationships, right employment, right home, right transportation, whatever you could possibly need. There never has been, never will be a reluctance on the part of God. What is needed is for us to learn to align our thoughts and feelings, spirit with spirit. And when we do, miracles abound for you and your loved ones, for the whole world, and for me too.